Have you ever had this happen? You're with people, friends, family, coworkers. The talk flows over the usual things. Plans, news, small frustrations. And in your mind, a thought crystallizes. It's not just another comment. It's a connection. You see the hidden pattern behind a problem. You trace an invisible thread from a casual complaint back to a deep human fear. Clicks into place a fragile, brilliant understanding. Feels like truth. So you gather your courage. You shape this complex, beautiful thought into words and offer it to the room. And then, it just hangs there. No one picks it up. No one wrestles with it. There's only a polite, hollow silence. A glance between others that doesn't include you. A throat cleared. Then, as if by unspoken agreement, the conversation simply flows around your idea. Like a river parting for a rock, it moves on, leaving your contribution isolated, slowly drying out. In that moment, you don't just feel ignored. You feel erased. The most alive part of you spoke, and to the world, it made no sound. So you learn to pre-translate. You run every deep impulse through a filter of simplicity before it leaves your lips. You become a ghostwriter for your own mind, authoring only the bland, acceptable summaries of your thoughts. You are present, but you are in a quiet exile. A smiling ghost. That hollow ache is not ordinary loneliness. It's the loneliness of permanent translation. It's the profound fatigue of having a cathedral of thought inside you, yet only ever being allowed to point at the door and say, "Nice building." You are not making this up. This is not a social failure. You are experiencing one of the oldest patterns in human history. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer spent his life mapping this exact terrain. He saw ordinary life as operating on a fuel of comforting illusions. Pleasure, status, distraction, simple stories. The intelligent mind, he argued, is the one that wakes up from that collective dream. And nothing is more unsettling to the sleepers than the wide-awake person sitting silently among them, watching a dawn they cannot yet see. Your mind seeks the hidden architecture of things, while the world asks you only to admire the wallpaper. This is not a clash of opinions. It is a clash of fundamental reality. To understand why this rift is so deep, we must visit a laboratory. Let's talk about the brain as an organ shaped by evolution. For millions of years, its primary job was tribal survival. The greatest danger wasn't just predators, but internal discord. A member who constantly questioned the chief, doubted the myths, suggested a risky new path. This person threatened the unit's cohesion. Cohesion meant safety. Division meant death. Thus, the brain developed a brutal efficiency system. It rewarded agreement, repetition, and familiarity with feelings of safety, the warm glow of belonging. It flagged novelty, complexity, and dissent as potential threats, triggering subtle stress, the cold prickle of anxiety. Neuroscientists call this cognitive ease versus cognitive strain. You, the deep thinker, are not questioning a path to a watering hole. You're questioning a business strategy, a social norm, a common belief. But to the ancient software still running in the basement of every brain, the signal is the same. You are introducing cognitive strain. You are the discordant voice. The tribe's neural immune system, polite silence, changing the subject, gentle ridicule, activates, not out of malice, but from a million-year-old instinct to preserve the peace, to return to the comforting state of cognitive ease. This is the true Schopenhauer effect. It's not that people dislike you. It's that your clarity unconsciously triggers a low-grade biological alarm in others. When you share a deep insight, you aren't just sharing information. You are neurologically asking their brain to do the exhausting, threatening work of rewriting its own comfortable story. Most brains will reject that work order, and they will reject the messenger. This explains history's cruelest irony. Why its greatest visionaries were so often its greatest outcasts. Galileo, Hypatia, Tesla, Turing, they weren't persecuted because their ideas were wrong. They were silenced because their ideas were too right, too soon. Their spotlights revealed cracks in the foundation that the sleepers, cozy in their candlelit rooms, were not ready to see. Society would rather board up the window than admit the wall is crumbling. So here you are, awake in a world of sleepers, holding a spotlight in a kingdom of candles. What now? Did Schopenhauer, this prophet of sober truth, offer any path forward? He did, but it is not the path of conversion. It is the path of sovereignty. His solution was a radical inward turn. The intelligent person, he proposed, must cease seeking validation from the marketplace of opinions, which trades only in simple goods. Your thoughts are rare artifacts. You must become your own curator. This means reframing your entire reality. First, see your solitude as a workshop, not a prison. That quiet space where you feel most separate. That is not a penalty box. Schopenhauer saw solitude as the only atmosphere where profound thought could breathe. It is your sanctuary and your forge. Every great book, theory, or innovation began in a space like yours, cleared of the world's noisy chatter. Your loneliness is not the absence of others. It is the presence of a necessary emptiness, like the silence between musical notes that makes the melody. Stop trying to fill it with noise. Listen to what wants to grow there. Second, become a master of context, not a martyr for truth. A surgeon does not operate in a subway car. She waits for the sterilized, controlled environment of the operating theater. Your deepest insights are your surgical tools. Learn to diagnose the social environment. Is this a subway car for simple transactions? Or is it an operating theater? A prepared space with a willing patient? Share your complexity only when the context can support it. Otherwise, protect your energy. This isn't dishonesty. It is professionalism of the mind. Third, seek resonance, not applause. Stop shouting at the broad, flat wall of the crowd, hoping for an echo. Start listening for the specific, pure note of resonance. You will find it in the pages of an old book that speaks to your soul. In the one sentence from a colleague that proves they were listening on a deeper level. In the small community where the shared language is complexity, not simplicity. These points of resonance are your true coordinates. They prove you are not a lost island, but part of a scattered, invisible archipelago of similar minds. Finally, understand the weight of your gift. Schopenhauer believed the deep thinker bears a double burden, the burden of seeing and the burden of the sadness that comes with seeing. But within that burden lies a peculiar, unshakable freedom. Once you stop demanding that the sleepers understand your wakefulness, you are free. Free to explore the dawn by yourself. Free to build in your quiet workshop. Free from the exhausting tyranny of their approval. The world needs its dreamers, its dancers, its candle holders. They create the warmth, the culture, the rhythm of everyday life. But the world also needs its awake ones, its listeners to the deeper song, its holders of the inconvenient light. You were given a mind that cannot help but turn over the rocks to see what lies beneath. It is a difficult gift. It guarantees you will see worms and rot others will never confront. But occasionally, turning over that rock, you will find a vein of gold, a hidden spring, a truth that changes everything. Do not abandon your post at the edge of the dreaming world. Do not put down your light. The silence that greets your ideas is not your tomb. It is your invitation, an invitation to stop speaking their language and to start fully composing your own.